Welcome to the LiveTap podcast. I'm your host, Damian Trailer, and today I have Will Isley and Eric Fewell Will in there with me. Welcome to the show, y'all boys.
What's up?
Thanks for having us.
How y'all boys doing today?
Doing good.
Doing good.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. The weather kind of a little drastic outside.
Yeah,
so.
it's not the best. It's bringing down the vibe a little bit.
Yeah, would y'all consider that lacrosse like good lacrosse weather though?
I mean, it's not, as long as it's not cold, man, and it's good, or rainy, then I'm happy.
Yeah,
because
same
I
here.
feel like up here it's like either cold or rainy all the time. So yeah.
Yeah, that's North
But
Georgia.
other than that, I mean, if it's above 50, about 60, I'm cool, man.
Yeah, that's
So,
money.
Yeah.
That's what's up for
Yeah.
sure. But before we start the pod, I want to know y'all major, class, or graduation, and what sports y'all play here.
I'm a business management and accounting major. I'm a junior, and I play lacrosse.
I'm a applied health science major with a concentration in fitness and coaching, and I'm a senior here, and I also play lacrosse.
Well, that's good. But I want to get on to the big part. It's a big week for the lacrosse team here at Piedmont. How y'all feeling about the big opponent y'all got coming in on Saturday?
I'm excited. Last year didn't turn out the way we wanted it to go, but coming in this game, I know, at least I can speak for myself, I'm very confident in our abilities to go out there and play a tough game and just have fun.
Yeah, I think, Coach said it good yesterday. Like, they respect us, we respect them. Like, we both know that we're both good teams who can beat each other. And I think the guys are really fired up from definitely losing in the championship last year and, losing the game before that. And I know it's going to be a little bit harder for the newer guys, like the freshmen who've never played Pfeiffer, never lost to Pfeiffer. But they've never won at the Walker Athletic Complex, so we're going to try to keep it that way and, hopefully kick some butt on Saturday.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, also, everybody, we're talking about Pfeiffer here.
Yeah.
Just let y'all know. But on to the sports questions. My first question for y'all is, how do y'all juggle the student-athlete lifestyle here at Piedmont?
Just time management, learning how to deal with going to class, keeping up with grades, but also being able to produce for your athletic team. It's definitely a struggle at times, but other times, I know, at least for my professors, they'll help out and are very understanding when it comes to juggling between class times and tests, and especially when we're in season with games and away trips and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think time management's super important. Like, I know my freshman year I was not good at the time management portion. I was skipping a lot. I was tired. I didn't want to go to 8 a.m. I didn't want to do Piedmont 11:01. It was just like a ton of stuff going on, and I just had to learn, even sophomore and junior year, like leading up to this year, it's just like I got to balance my time. I got to prioritize. I can't, be on the game too long. I can't mess around, and I just got to put my head down, especially in season. You just got to really prioritize your time and make sure that, you're giving the time to the important stuff and kind of just putting all that extracurricular stuff to the side. So,
yeah. But
also, staying locked in and being ready for practice and just kind of compartmentalizing to being like, this is school, this is practice, they're two separate things. Don't bring one into the other, and try to stay sane.
Right. Now, Eric, I know you talked to me about, you kind of struggled with time management coming in as a freshman. Will, did you ever struggle with time management here?
I did, for sure, especially that first semester, having the 8 a.m. first semester here at college, being away from at home, and then, at high school, it's kind of like you just go to school and you have to go to class and stuff like that. So, coming from that and just kind of being out on your own is definitely a big step from there. And so, yeah, definitely first semester freshman year is definitely a little bit of a struggle for myself.
It's an adjustment. I think, when you come to Piedmont, you're like, oh, it's, I'll be fine. It's not like I'm going to UGA or nothing, but you get here and it's still just as big an adjustment as it would be going to any, bigger school. So I think that's important to know.
Yeah, for sure, man. Piedmont's a small campus.
Yeah.
It's college at the end of the day.
Yeah, for real.
Next question is, though, what made y'all fall in love with the sport of lacrosse?
I know coming in to lacrosse, I was always football, baseball, wrestling. I never had played lacrosse, but then I found out a sport where it was kind of a mixture of a bunch of different things that I enjoyed, and came pretty much down to being I never was going to be big enough to go play football, and lacrosse gave me that chance to go play sports in college, and so I love it. And since day one, I've just loved it.
Yeah, I think it was just I don't know, just kind of I don't even know if you'd call it falling in love. It was just kind of this is kind of what I'm the best at, so this is what I'm going to stick with and hopefully go to college for it. And, like Will said, one, I wasn't big enough to play football in college, and two, I didn't those 5:30 a.m. workouts not for me. So
Wow. 5:30
yeah,
is crazy.
Yeah, so I think it was just like, being like, I'm the best at this, so I'm gonna put all my hard work into this and all my time and see where it takes me. And I think that it led me here, and it's hours and hours of travel. Like Will knows, it's hours of travel. It's on the weekends when your friends are doing fun stuff in high school, you're going up to wherever in the Northeast and playing lacrosse games and freezing cold or super hot, stuff like that. So it's just
just last weekend traveling to Virginia to go play a game and turn right back around and come back here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's I mean, I love lacrosse, but it definitely took me time. Like Piedmont definitely helped me find my love for it again, and because you got so many different coaches when you're playing club and in high school, and then you come here, and then it's just like, some coaches can kind of kill your spirit and your love for the game. So I think it's important to kind of find that again, especially if you're in college and you're hating the game, there's something wrong. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm actually interested because I know I talked to Lavette and Tamar on the women's lacrosse team. They be having super early practices. Do y'all too, or is that just the women's team?
No, we luckily Coach Dutton has a little weight around here, so we kind of get, especially this year, we got the 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock times, which is perfect. Just knowing our team, I mean, we've had the 8 a.m.s and 10 a.m.s before, and we just don't get we don't get a lot out of it because guys are just tired, let's say it's a Sunday 10 a.m. practice. There's, other stuff going on with the boys, so we're better off that we just have the weekly 3 to 5s and, just get our work done and put our head to the grindstone and then not have to worry about those 8 and 10 a.m.s.
Yeah. I was really interested in asking y'all that question because a lot of sports teams, or a couple, I've been hearing, be having like 5 and 6 a.m. practices. Yeah. That's ill work.
Yeah.
But what made y'all come to Piedmont to play lacrosse, though? Or what made y'all want to commit here?
So Coach Dunn recruited me, and coming in, hearing about like just the family aspects of everything like that, just really drew me in. And then not being too far to where my parents could come and watch a few games here and there when they had the time to, but really just the recruiting aspect of it. I love the small campus feel with you go to Georgia right down the road, and having that big school right there helped as well. But definitely just the family aspect of the program and the team, and ever since day one when I got here, it's been the same way.
Yeah, it was definitely for me like just proximity to home. Like it was important to be close to my parents and stuff, and then. As a 17, 18-year-old getting recruited, and then Coach McKay, who used to coach here, he was my club coach, so I'd known him for like 2 years before I even got recruited here, and, it was cool. He told me about the stuff. I got shown around during COVID. There was nobody here, but it still seemed like a cool place to be, and, when you're 17, 18, and your coach tells you can play lacrosse and be, 45, 50 minutes away from Athens, it's a pretty big deal at that point.
Take that chance for sure.
Yeah, so just like proximity to home and just, being able to kind of go in between the small campus feel to like a big school kind of feel
for sure
whenever we want to. So,
well, you're pretty close to your home is pretty close to Piedmont as well, right?
Yeah, I live maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours away.
All right,
so being close to my parents is a big thing as well.
Yeah, I was about to ask y'all, how important was it for y'all to be not super close, of course, because you want that distance as well, but at the same time you want to be close at the same time. How important was it for y'all to at least be in a close proximity to home, being here at Piedmont?
It was important to me. I've always kind of been a homebody myself, so not being too far from home if I wanted to go home is a big thing for me. And then also, like I was just mentioned, being able to have my parents come and support me and my teammates on the weekend was a big thing that I enjoyed.
Yeah, I think the same for me. Just being able for my parents to not have to make a trip out of coming to see me play. Yeah. Like if we were in a different state, they'd have to make a weekend of it. They can, if the game's at Saturday at 1, they can drive here in the morning, be back by, late dinner time, and that's good for them. It's good for me, and we still have that distance to where they can't come knock on my door and see what I'm doing, but they can still be they're only 2.5 hours away. So if I need them, they need me. It's just a phone call, and it's not got to make a trip out of it. So
no, that's what's up for sure. My next question for y'all is, coming off both of y'all being all USA South second team last season, coming into this season, how do y'all want to capitalize off y'all individual accomplishments and contribute to helping the team win the USA South this year?
I guess it's never been it's always team. Yeah. But just being able to facilitate the ball on the offensive side, and then when I need to play defense and drop back and help the guys. get down and dirty on the defensive side of the ball, I'm always down for that. But I just think I'm not really worried about personal accomplishments. I'm more worried about going out there and winning as a team.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's cool when, I mean, it usually happens to where, you know, we're in the huddle at practice the week after the season ends, and, you know, he announces who got whatever award, and I mean, you know, it feels good because you work hard and like you want to be on that list, you want to be on the first, second team, you want to get an honorable mention, all that. So I mean, of course it feels good, but I think at the end of the day we all have these goals like beating Pfeiffer, you know, winning a conference championship, and you know, just like proving ourselves, because I think that a lot of the times that, especially with this like Pfeiffer Piedmont rivalry that we have, we're usually like the underdog when, you know, we got just as many guys who can play as they do. They may have 50 more guys on their sideline, but that doesn't make them any better than we are. You know, we expect to like punch them in the mouth, and you know, they want to come and punch us in the mouth. So of course the individual stuff is awesome, but I think that when we work as a team, it feels 10 times better than getting that award. So
yeah, and like go off that, like I mean, yeah, when it's like certain games when we all come together as a team and play our best lacrosse as a team, there's not many people that can play with us.
Yeah, and I think you know, there are some days where I'm like, what are we doing, man? Like there's some days that aren't good at practice, and there's some games where we start and, you know, myself, I'm like, what am I doing? You know, like, are we a bad team? But it's not that. It's just like it's just coming together. Lacrosse is so important that like you got to play as a unit, like any sport really, besides like tennis or golf. But like you just really got to come together as a unit and just understand that it's got to be like 40 guys out there playing as a team and not just 40 individuals doing their own thing out there. So
yeah, I mean, speaking of the team, what are y'all overall thoughts about how the team is doing so far this season?
I can start on this one if you want. I think we're definitely younger. Like, we're a young team. We got starters as like freshmen who are starters. We got sophomores who are starters, like having big roles. Like, if these guys aren't playing good, we're not playing good as a unit. So, and of course we have like the older leadership, like me, Will, like Hazzy, like Andrew Pagano, you know, Ike, Michael Isley, our goalie. Like we have these older guys, but like we do lean a lot on our younger guys, and we're just young as a unit right now. So I think that especially right now, we're kind of like peaking. Like, we're at that point where we're getting better and better and better. And I think this past SVU game, especially the second half, was a time where like we all came together, and I could see that team, you know, winning it all, and, you know, beating Pfeiffer and getting everything done that we want to get done. So we just got to keep building on that.
Yeah, for sure. To go off what Eric said, I mean, we had 17 freshmen come in this year. Very, very big freshman class, very young team. But when those guys come in and they play and we're all playing together as a unit, it's huge. But I mean, I don't know. It's just like very, very young team. But I'm like excited to see where the rest of the season goes. Personally, I'm happy with where we're at. I definitely think those 3 losses that we have could have gone different ways. Just games that we didn't show up in for 60 minutes and stuff like that. But I'm excited to see where the rest of the season goes, and I think we've got a very good chance at doing what we want to do this year.
And we got a pretty important stretch coming up here, so and especially this Saturday. Everybody come to the game this Saturday, please. We need everybody at the game this Saturday.
No, for sure.
1 p.m., but, you know, we need everybody there, and, I mean, you see the losses. Yeah, we got some, you know, pretty substantial losses, but it's not like we're losing to bad teams, man. Like, we're losing to really good teams these teams make the tournament, they win their conference, right? So, you know, they're not all, like, it's nothing to hang your head over. Like, we got good wins, we got good players, and we got the tools. So I think that it's just about coming out and showing everybody what we can do.
No doubt.
Yeah, I mean, well, I know you were talking about, Eric, you're talking about the team peaking or whatever, but, I mean, y'all started the season out, like you said, Will, 3-3. But since y'all been on fire, I mean, y'all won the last 5 games by like a nice substantial lead, like a nice substantial winning for sure. But what has been a fun one to the team's success as of late?
Just going out there and just, I mean, starting the game strong. Because early in the season, we'd always have one quarter where we just would not play very well and not play as a unit, and that would kill us.
Yeah.
And so recently, we've been playing a lot better and, you know, really getting to that full 60-minute mark. And I think, like Eric said, we're peaking right now, which is what we need, because if we would have peaked earlier, then maybe we'd have had a drop off now. Yeah. And if we peak now, then we're just gonna be solid going into this next stretch.
And like, of course, that first game, Barry, they're one of our, like, I would say newer rivals. Like, we just started beating them. I think that first game of this season was the second time we've ever beat them. So, you know, stuff like that, like, it's awesome to start out like that. We were hot. You know, we may have celebrated a little too much after we beat them. But, you know, I mean, it feels good to get stuff like that. And, you know, we got humbled after that. So it was good to kind of get out of that stretch and then get back into this stretch of in-conference games and kind of show everybody we can do and that we're here to, you know, get the job done and win a ring. So.
I mean, very rarely do you see a team that's just perfect the entire season.
Yeah.
So, I mean, getting humbled earlier in the season is definitely what we needed. You know, playing those really good, tough teams from the SAA is what we needed to do, and I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of being humble, how do y'all feel like you said, y'all were being humbled this earlier in the season after that big win against Barry? How do y'all feel like that kind of helps y'all now and will help y'all going into the rest of the season, especially this big stretch that you were talking about earlier?
I know I can speak for myself, but kind of lights a flame under your butt. I mean, you get out there and you get beat by a substantial amount, and it kind of just, you know, pisses you off, makes you want to, like, run that back real quick. But,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just gets you ready to go for their future games, and it helps you, what's the word? I guess just get ready for those next bigger games that are coming up, and I think that's what we have done and used those losses in the right way.
Yeah, I think we've, you know, done our best. The coaches have done their best to kind of capitalize when we do lose and, like, when we do kind of, you know, get humbled a little bit. And, you know, we just always try to, like, never hang our heads and just kind of take it into the next game that we're going to win. And, you know, that stretch of Swanee and Rhodes was tough. You know, those are two really good teams. And, you know, we took 2 losses, and they're not small losses. They were pretty substantial losses. But I think that rolling into, like I said, again, the big stretch that we have coming up now, it's just perfect, and everything's kind of coming together just the way we want it to. So I'm pretty excited to see what's to come for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of that stretch y'all talking about, you know, coming to the season, Piedmont was ranked second in the preseason poll, with Pfeiffer being first, of course. Y'all will host a home game against them this weekend. How are y'all preparing for this big game?
I think we're just emphasizing that if we put together 30 minutes of perfect lacrosse, we put together 45 minutes, it's not going to be enough. We got to put together 60 full minutes, and, you know, everybody's got to do their job. Like, we're dealing with a lot of injuries right now. You know, that's been tough, so we've got to kind of ramp back the practices. But, I mean, yesterday was a pretty tough day. You know, they had us through some of our harder drills, and I think it's going to start ramping down, but it's going to be more preparation these next couple days leading up till pregame on Friday. So, you know, I think that everybody's just kind of locking in, and I think our team is definitely, everybody has their own way of locking in.
Yeah.
Some guys get, you know, loud and happy, some guys get quiet, you know, but once they get on that field, we're, you know, all our own guys, we're all together, and I think it's just really important to emphasize how much we got to come together this week, especially.
Yeah, I mean, I really couldn't have said it any better myself. Just going in this week, preparing, knowing that they're a good team coming in here and that we have to put together 60 minutes full lacrosse is something that we're all preparing for. Like Eric said, we're all locking in our own different ways. But, yeah, I mean, just watching film, knowing their guys, knowing our own assignments, knowing each side of the ball's assignments, and just going out there and just playing full 60 minutes is what we have to do.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm really excited for this big game, man. Like, I've been asking around, and everybody who's been fans of y'all for a minute definitely been waiting for this game for sure, man. But my next question for y'all is, can y'all give me a day in the life as a Piedmont men's lacrosse player on a game day? Let's say it's a home game, though. Make it easier for y'all.
You go first, and then I'll give you, because everybody, I think, has their, especially the guys who go in the training room, which is like, sorry, that was loud. Especially the guy, we got like what, I'd say about half the teams in the training room before games.
Yeah.
And I think everybody's got their own kind of little routine, so I'll let Will go through his routine, and then I get through mine.
Especially for a home game, I know I get up and I go to Chick-fil-A to get breakfast, and then just kind of go back to the room, eat, shower, get ready mentally, but not fully lock in. Like Coach Fewell will always say, like, all right, we're at a 6 now, and then by the time we hit the field, we're at a 10. So, you know, just like starting to amp up a little bit, but not too much and too early. But then get over to the Mize, you know, 2 hours before the game, get in the training room, get rehab done, physical therapy taped up, then go down to the locker room and really, really start locking in there. And, you know, by the time the helmet comes on, it's go time.
I'm pretty similar. I kind of wake up, I shower, get something light. I don't like having like a crazy heavy breakfast before a game, especially if it's at like noon or 1. Get in there. Usually have an energy drink ready. I usually drink my energy drink in the training room kind of while I'm getting my rehab and my PT, and then I get taped up, get all my stuff on. I then just sit in my locker room and listen to, God knows what for like 30 minutes before the game, before we head out, and then it's kind of just all up from there.
That's smooth for sure. That's smooth for sure. I love asking that question to, honestly, every athlete or coach for real. Yeah. But my next question for y'all is, can y'all tell me the impact Coach Dunnan has had on y'all personally and y'all overall as a team?
I mean, personally, he recruited me before I got here, and he was really the only coach that I talked to coming into Piedmont. Mm-hmm. And just for, like, on a personal level, like, I mean, I know off the field I could go to him with any little thing, and then he'd be more of a friend about it and a mentor. But I know then on the field it's, serious business. But then again, he can still, crack a few jokes here and there. But he's definitely impacted me in a very good way, and is probably one of my favorite coaches that I've ever had.
Yeah, I think that he's just kind of he's like a dad away from home, I'd say. Sure. Like he can be like, nice and nurturing and stuff, but he can also, whip your butt into shape. He has a saying that he always says. He says, figure it out, and there's a word before out and in between in that he usually uses or whatever. Figure it out. But just that kind of stuff, he'll whip you into shape, but he's also willing to sit down and say, hey, this, what's going on? Like, especially, like some days I know he'll come up to me at practice, he's like, you good? Just like checking on me, and he'll do that with everybody. If he can tell you're not having a good day, he'll ask you about it and, kind of try to talk to you about it. And especially I think Coach Farrell's a good, our assistant. He's definitely a vibes guy. He'll help the boys kind of like feel better, especially if morale's down. He'll kind of maybe crack a joke, or I know in our film sessions he'll have like he's like a big, how do I put it? Like he likes to make like funny kind of, I don't know if you call it like a meme about play guys on the team that he'll show, and he'll act like he accidentally switched to it or something like that. It's just like, he's just there to prepare us, but also, make us understand that, it doesn't always have to be so serious. We can, let loose and still get the job done. So,
yeah, because they're not only our coaches, but they're also like trying to prepare us for the real world, world, like when we do graduate from here. So they obviously, like Eric said, can get after our butts, but not. They're also there to be there for us.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out Coach, man, for sure.
Yeah, shout out Coach Dunton and Coach Farrell, for
real. Last question on the sports side. This is probably not even really a sports question for real, but when y'all college careers are over with, what career path do y'all want to pursue?
I know I'm going to go into either project management, or I've been working for my dad for like 6 years now. So either we're going into project management or taking over his cabinet business, and because I've really grown to enjoy that. And
shout out Todd.
Yeah, shout out Todd, for real. But just either project manager or taking over his cabinet business.
Yeah, I probably I want to go into like strength coaching, strength conditioning. Delph was a big mentor for me here, and he has connected me with like some really awesome connections that are definitely going to help me out later on with getting the job I want to get. But probably something in like the university sector, and then probably move on to like private training and go from there. It's a big industry, it's expanding, so probably something like that. And if that doesn't work out, I don't know, maybe like sales or something. Yeah, Todd's cabinets maybe.
That's smooth. On to the mental side questions now, though. My first question for y'all is, do y'all feel like mental health is important in the sports world, and why?
No doubt. I mean, like obviously, physically you can get yourself as far as you can, but if you're not mentally in the right mind space, then you're not going to be able to perform for yourself or for your team.
Yeah, and I agree, especially when you're coming in as a young guy and you're getting minutes and you're playing over older guys. You got to earn it every single day of practice. And now it's like, as older guys who are leaders and we have our positions kind of established, you still have to go hard. You can't really let off the gas, because there's some guy on the sideline who's praying to be in the position that you're in and get those reps and get those minutes and get those stats. So it's really important to just kind of keep your head on straight, and like I said earlier, just like compartmentalize it and kind of have this mentality of like, this is on the field. I don't need to bring in any of my outside problems onto the field, and I can use the field as a way to kind of like release kind of that tension or built up stress that I have, and then feel 10 times better after practice. I can't even tell you how many times I've gone into practice with a not great attitude, and then I've gotten into it, I broke a sweat, I've got my heart rate going, and then we come out and I'm good. So
yeah, I'm the same way. It's just like a place to vent without actually having to talk.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
That's understandable for sure. But I really want to know this because I know how hard y'all sport can be for sure. And like just talking to a couple of y'all teammates and even some of y'all coaches, like I gained like a hell of a respect for y'all sport for sure now. But can y'all tell me the mental toll playing lacrosse can have on y'all and y'all's bodies, even if it's not just mental?
I mean, I know me and Eric both. Our bodies are just they're
waving the white flag for sure.
Starting to be held together by tape at this point.
I mean, I think lacrosse, it takes definitely a bigger toll than people may think because we're wearing shorts out there and we really only have pads on this upper half but it's tough, man. We got a ton of knee injuries, ton of ankles, ton of stuff like that, and it's just from rep after rep after rep going hard. And like I got my own stuff going on. I got a shoulder injury, I got knee stuff, I got whatever, but it's just all part of it, like any other sport. Like I see people from pretty much every single other sport in that training room at all times. So I wouldn't say it's harder than any other sport, but I mean I would say it definitely does take a physical toll for sure.
Yeah, I mean back to like the physical side of things, like dealing with ankle injuries, stuff like that. I mean it's just we have our fall ball, but that's about 3 weeks, and we have a little break. But I mean pretty much as soon as we get back here on campus in January,
every day.
I mean it's every day, 7 days a week,
2 hours. Yeah.
I mean practice, games, just from January to May on, it's just balls to the walls, like no stopping. But
yeah, you got it.
Like kind of like the mental side of things. I know, like myself, sometimes like checking stats and stuff like that. Like say you have I have a bad day shooting. Like get down on yourself, do this and that. But just being able to be mentally strong enough and to be able to get out of that little rut on the mental side of things is just something like you kind of have to have.
Yeah, I think it's important to not be too hard on yourself, but also set an expectation for yourself to where like you want to be great, but everybody has bad days, man. Yeah. So like you just got to understand that, and when you have your good days, you appreciate those good days and move on, and if you have a bad day, you flush it and move on and hopefully have a good day the next day. So I think that's important.
Yeah, for sure. My next question for y'all is, has there been a moment throughout your guys' sports career where your mental health was affected by your sport or something outside of your sport that affected, your play on the field?
I don't know. I had the dreaded high school into freshman year girlfriend, which wasn't never the best scenario, but I mean, that's not too crazy, nothing too serious, but I mean, there definitely is stuff like personally that may kind of leak in, but I think we're all pretty good at being able to, like I said, compartmentalize and be able to, like that I'm on the field right now and whatever problem I have, let it out here and, move on. So I think any sport's good at just helping guys and girls just kind of vent and get through their stuff in their own way, and you may not need to really talk. I mean, you should talk to people. It's good to talk to people, but if that's not for you, then get hit in the gym or hit in the field. That can be just as good. So
yeah, I mean, like you said earlier, not bringing the outside stuff into sports. Yeah. I mean, obviously you always will, but you might not be thinking about it while you're on the field, and but you're still like getting that out, venting it out, and that helps a lot. But I guess some personal things I've brought over to the field, and it's definitely brought down some things. But other than that, I mean, I try not to bring them. I try to keep them separate as much as I can.
I think it's really important to keep it separate because I mean, like, I don't know. I just think it's very important to be able to like be mentally tough enough to kind of separate those things and understand that your problems aren't everyone's problems. So like you gotta kind of compartmentalize it, and when you get on that field, it's not time for your problems. It's time to go to work.
Yeah, and at the same time though, like if it is something like outside of y'all sport, I mean lacrosse, y'all can really hit somebody for real.
Yeah.
I can take it out that way too. Yeah. But on to the next question. What makes having confidence an important factor being an athlete that y'all are?
I think that it just negates the doubt. Like if you have doubt in your head going into a game or even a practice or even during a practice can raise your doubt that it's just going to snowball. So I think that just like having confidence in yourself is going to kind of push away that doubt that you may have going into a game. Like me as a defender, you could think maybe, this guy's really good. Like he may beat me a couple times, but if you just have confidence that we just got to go into that first rep and see what happens, and if I win, I win. If I don't, then we adjust, then that's good. You just got to be confident and not get down on yourself and definitely not let it snowball, because I know at my position, that leads to you getting beat, and at his position, it leads to missing shots. So it's important to just stay confident.
Yeah, I mean, confidence, it's a huge sport, or a huge part in like any sport that you play. I know ever since like playing in youth sports, middle school and high school, I've always heard from my dad, like you kind of got to run the line of confident and cocky.
Yeah. And
just like, I know, like he's told me, it was before the conference championship last year, he was like, you got to go out there and be like, yeah, I'm going to beat you on this dodge. Yeah, I'm going to score. And just like going out there and playing confident, and it helps so much because like Eric's saying, if you go out there with doubt in your head, then there's a pretty good chance that you might make that mistake that you're worried about.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's the confidence got to be number one thing.
Yeah, it's really, especially when it's a game that you shoot. I think I don't shoot, but I know for like guys like Will, and then even like on like basketball teams or getting hits in baseball, like it's really important to just have that confidence that I'm gonna hit this ball, I'm gonna make this shot, I'm gonna hit the net, all that kind of stuff. So. And
like kind of snowballing off that, and like if you go into the game confident, say you do miss that first shot or second shot, like you can still be like, okay, well, I know I got this next one. Yeah, I'm good to go.
Yeah, for sure. Last question on the mental side, though. Do y'all think the sport of lacrosse has helped shape or grow you as a person?
No doubt. I mean, adversity. Deal with it day in and day out. And just, I know once I get out of here, I'm still going to have the time management skills that I've learned from, juggling sports and lacrosse, or sports in school. And just having a work ethic. And I think that's definitely going to help me in the future when I do get to the real world.
Yeah, I think that lacrosse, like a lot of team sports, like they just, you're with these guys, especially in the spring semester, for 4 hours every day, if even, maybe sometimes even more. We're in film sessions together, we're at practice together, we're in lift together, we eat together, we hang out together. I live with 3 of my teammates, he lives with 3 of our teammates. We're just always together, and that there's always like kind of a I got your back mentality, and that I just think it's a brotherhood's really big in lacrosse, and that it's kind of like a family once you're out there, especially once you start playing games, and that it just kind of shapes you into that a kind of person who knows that guys got their back, and if I make mistakes, that I got to just be better next time, and that these guys aren't going to turn on me, they're going to support me and make sure that I'm confident enough to make that next play.
Yeah. For sure, and that like kind of runs into like the off-field things as well. Like knowing you have a brotherhood on the field and a family on the field, I mean, it doesn't change when you get off the field.
Yeah, right. Well, on to the burner questions. First question for y'all is, did y'all have any other offers from any schools outside of Piedmont coming out of high school?
Yeah, I did. There was like some D2s, other D3s, some even D3s in our conference. But I just thought, Piedmont was just the right spot for me at that time, and there's been times where I've thought maybe it would have been different at other schools, but I really don't think there's any place that I'd rather be, and that it was definitely the best decision for me to come here, just for all aspects of my life. So I think it's definitely one of the better decisions I've made, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I had some other offers from, like Eric said, D3 schools and some smaller D2s and this and that, but Piedmont was definitely the right choice for me. I mean, ever since I got here and, got through that first year, I was like, yeah, I made the right decision. I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah, no facts. Piedmont's definitely amazing. They can have their trouble sometimes, but...
it can be a headache. So it's a love-hate relationship, for sure. For sure.
So I come back from a long road trip, and Coach Dunnan said I got sprints when y'all get back, but don't give y'all a reason as of why. What or who you think may be the reason for having a run when y'all get back?
I'm not going to lie to you, bro. We don't run.
Y'all don't
run? We don't run. Like, unless, like, we... Because our drills involve so much sprinting and running and change of direction and just stuff that he knows that if he runs us a lot, let's say at the top of practice, if it was like a thing that we would run, because I had this in high school, where you run a ton at the top of practice, especially on like early days like Monday, Tuesday, that the whole practice kind of dies because everybody's so tired and you don't get the kind of work that you want to get. But we will run if, let's say, stick work's not going good, which is usually like the top of practice. He'll line us up and run us, and he'll have some choice words for us as we're running and that kind of stuff. But I think it's honestly like in lacrosse, like my club team was big on we don't run sprints. I think it's really just important to get after it in the drills and make sure your stick's tight and just make sure it's clean, and hopefully you don't give your coach a reason to run you and you're just going that hard in the drills and that kind of stuff that really doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, if you get, like, say Eric was saying, running a bunch at the beginning of practice, I mean, then you get gassed, you're tired. I mean, the rest of the practice, you're not going to be able to go.
You're just trying to get through it.
Yeah. Who's the most loud or funny person on the team?
The most loud person on the team?
Yeah.
JoJo.
Yeah, JoJo. Pagano, Andrew Pagano's up there. We got our juice guy, Trey Tuggle. Shout out Trey Tuggle.
Yo,
Trey Tuggle.
Bro, I got a story to tell y'all when y'all get done. It's so funny.
Shout out him. JoJo, I like to call him the rat. I think every team kind of needs a rat. That's what Coach Dunn was saying. You need that guy who's gonna, talk his trash and make plays, and he's gonna back up his talk, right? So that's the kind of guy he is, and we appreciate him. Sometimes I want to tell him to be quiet, but most of the time I'm juicing him up just as much as he's juicing himself up. So
no doubt.
You need guys like that on your team to just kind of set the tone and be like, we're not here to mess around and we're gonna punch you in the mouth for 60 minutes. So.
Yeah. But nah, man. The story I wanted to tell you actually about Trey. So, they're my neighbors or whatever. So I remember me and Joe. I forgot what happened. Like I forgot how we collided to each other.
Yeah.
Like we walking upstairs. We live on the same floor or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he tried to open the door, but it's stuck.
Oh, he was locked. He was locked in.
Bro,
bro,
we go outside. Trey's on the second floor, screaming, help, because he was locked out. I guess their door, their front door.
Yeah, he was locked out and he was locked in.
Yeah, you couldn't get out or get in, bro. It was
Tuggy,
so
man.
funny.
Poor Tuggy.
Yeah, bro, that was funny. But everybody was outside too, just watching.
Yeah,
it was crazy. But on to the next question. Favorite music artist currently or all time?
Well, you can go first.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Depends on the day for me. I have a lot of different favorites. I listen to, country music, rap music, rock music. It really just depends on the day or what I'm doing. So I don't really have an answer for that question.
Drake, man. I love Drake.
All right.
It's an unpopular opinion, but Drake's the man.
Yeah, shout out to him for sure, bro. If y'all could travel anywhere in the world, where y'all traveling to?
Probably Australia, man. I've heard some cool stuff about Australia besides all the things that can kill you out there, but I've heard some cool stuff about it, and it seems cool. There's a lot of stuff out there, and I don't know. I've never really been out of the country, so maybe you'll see me in Australia soon.
I'm sure there's some celebrities.
Yeah.
I think Italy would just be cool.
Yeah,
just
Europe, bro. Europe would be cool too.
Yeah, like Eric said, I've never really been outside the country, so I don't really know
where
I would want to go first.
Some research.
If y'all going to the gas station for snacks, what 3 items y'all walking out with?
A purple Powerade,
Okay.
a Snickers, and maybe some Nerd Clusters.
Nerd clusters. Wait. What color?
The pink ones.
Okay, cool. Just had to make sure.
I'd probably get a Sprite in the can though. It's gotta be in the can.
It gotta be in the can?
Gotta be in the can. Not the bottle. I'll probably get some of those twists, those Frito honey barbecue twists. Those are fire. And then probably a sweet, a gummy or something sweet. So something like that. Triple threat.
I had to make sure about the Nerd clusters.
Yeah. You can't be getting that blue bag.
No. Hell no. If you're stranded on the island, what 3 things I'm making sure I got with y'all on there? This question is getting people.
I don't know, man. Probably I don't know, maybe a water purifier or something. And then I don't know, maybe a can of Zins, and then maybe I don't know, maybe some protein powder keep me alive, dude. I don't,
I
don't really know.
I'm not gonna lie, no answer is the wrong answer.
Yeah.
I've heard the craziest of the craziest.
Yeah.
I heard Meg Thee Stallion, I didn't heard iPhone, AirPod
Megan Thee
charger.
Stallion is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I kid you not, bro. I didn't heard the craziest. How about you, Will?
Probably like, I don't know, a knife to defend myself. I don't really know what kind of island I'm on. If it's like an island with some water.
You're on an island, but you're surrounded by nothing but water.
All right.
What island doesn't have water?
I probably like some string, like a makeshift fishing line. I don't know, and then something to purify some water. So
Yeah,
something
I like that.
No, that's real. This is my last question though, as far as pod. If you can look back and give your younger selves advice, what would it be?
Keep working.
Yeah,
Work hard.
something like that, or just like don't worry about outside opinion. Just do what makes you happy, and do what do what you think's best for yourself. And if you're wrong, then that's fine too. So just go for it.
Just like don't get too caught up on
Yeah.
certain things.
Yeah.
Like be able to flush it and work by it.
Yeah, and especially like going into high school, from high school to college, like that high school group that you have feels so important.
Dude.
And like it feels like that's it for the rest of your life. But there's so much more out there. Like I've made some of my best friends at Piedmont. Some of the guys are gonna be standing up there at my wedding. Like just gotta make those connect. Don't be scared to make connections, man. Don't be scared to get out of your comfort zone. So.
No, for sure. Last thing though, before I end the pod, I did sell this past summer. I don't know if y'all know what that is.
I went my freshman year.
Yeah, it's lit for sure.
Yeah.
Shout out Miss Dyer for also nominating me again, tight.
Shout out.
I appreciate it. But what I always used to tell my voyages or whatever before we left the cabins is like, let's be great today. It's like some type of like form of like motivation or like pick me up, So on 3, if we could look at the camera all together and say, let's be great today on my countdown. If y'all want to be counting down together with me, y'all can too.
You got it.
That would be amazing. All right, hold on. Let me get right. All right, 3, 2, 1. Let's be great today. Yes, sir, man. I appreciate y'all, boys.
Yeah, good time.
All right, Lacrosse family, that is the end of the Will Isley and Eric Fewell episode. But y'all stay tuned next week because I have Piedmont women volleyball players Katie Hubbard and Brand White coming on the pod. And I also got Piedmont women basketball players Ava Hunter and Riley Bryant coming on the pod, man. So like I always say, let's be great today. And y'all stay safe out there, man. Y'all have a great week.